Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Here we are, another day and another, part of the saga unravels. This one, obviously, we're talking about the Novak Djokovic deportation saga over in Australia and some new facts that are coming to light. Obviously, we're hearing from some of his lawyers involved in this, and there's a sort of timeline around all of the facts at the moment that we're trying to just go through step by step just to see what actually happened here, because I can sort of tell you some of the key dates now that we know, and I'm sure you can see on the thumbnail I've listed some of them. There are some other ones as well. Where did you want to get started, JG?
Yeah, I think we'll just get started with the fact that apologies we're so late with this one. I know we've been doing usually a Djokovic update straight after we do our watch along. The Rafa match sort of went over a little bit and we had other commitments, but we're going to be covering it now. There has been more things always coming out. The big thing is, as we know, Djokovic tested positive for coronavirus in December. And apparently he had a positive COVID result on the 16th of December, confirmed by his lawyers, and was done for a PCR test through Serbian doctors, which we believe to be completely genuine and the real deal, which begs the question, let's be honest, what was he doing after that? Strolling around, maskless, at different events. He went to the Novak Djokovic Foundation. Yes. He was pictured... What was it? Do you have all the stats? Maybe we'll bring it up.
Well, he went to the Novak Djokovic. Yeah, well, this one is just saying where he probably caught it on the 14th of December, which is the first initial point here, which was he was posing maskless in a basketball match in Serbia with Nigel Hayes Davis, who did end up testing positive. 2 days after that, Novak Djokovic did have a positive COVID test, like a PCR test, did confirm him positive. The day after that, though, for me, I'm a bit shocked. When you sent me the stuff, I'd seen a few articles coming around in support saying, well, he's proven that he did have it and this type of thing. But I don't know how this excuses he's had a positive test that he has the knowledge of, yet he has gone. And he's gone to visit like an award ceremony where he's received an award, and he has been giving awards to many, about 20, 25, maybe 30 more children at this event. There's no masks, anything like that. I was a bit shocked, to be honest, that had happened after hearing the knowledge that he had tested positive on the 16th. And it just throws a lot of questions out there right now, because which one is the correct thing now? Because we're going to have people attacking him for that, because you're either going out with the knowledge that you're already positive, and you're going out and you're potentially spreading the virus with other people, like children who have families, blah, 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 all the other stuff.
So that's a disgrace, and it's extremely
terrible.
Selfish. The one thing we can't really say that as fact,
not
because
facts,
we don't
not
know.
Facts. No, we
because
don't.
It's a bit difficult with the crossover and the dates. We've got Jamie here saying it is possible Novak could have gone out in public to contract COVID, knowing he'd recover from it, and that would give him the exemption required for an Australian Open. That is ridiculous and ludicrous if that's the case. But there's also the possibility he went out not knowing he had it. The question I've got, though, why would he initially feel the need to have a test? Mate, he must have been showing some kind of symptoms or have the inclination that he needed to have a test.
The other guy, he was positive. And I think that was the reason for taking the test.
You think that's the reason he took the test?
Then he come
back positive.
Yeah.
And then, if he could receive the results straight away, I know sometimes it can take up to 48 hours, which would kind of clear him. It's just not good optics right now. He's stranded in Australia. the latest is we're waiting for the court hearing, which we will be covering, by the way, live on Game to Love. So make sure to join us for that one. It's going to be tomorrow evening in the UK, about 11 p.m. our time in the evening. So that's the bit. That's when we're going to really find out what's going on. The big thing, what could happen though, is he could still play the Australian Open. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people saying he could still be there if he is to sort of win his case. I don't think he necessarily has to win his case, though, does he? I know you were saying it could get.
I don't know. I don't know the exact. I don't know the exact terms. I know that it could be delayed. Let's say. I was listening. Thanks to Vance Gene sending over some stuff in the Discord. There was an Australian lawyer that was on radio and just sort of giving his take on the legal system in Australia, and he said, do you think anything of any magnitude ever gets done quickly? He said that he was, and I know this is a little bit of a cop-out, 51% sure that it wouldn't be done. I was like, so he's sure, but there's still room for a little bit of wiggle room, I think, in this. And I think he thinks that it is going to be just delayed. They're going to allow Djokovic in whilst it's going on in the background. And then he said these things normally get settled out of court, so there'll be something that they'll just come to a settlement eventually.
And Vance's got the bigger words to explain it because we're a bit stupid.
That's it.
The case can be delayed for months, and he can be granted interlocutory injunction. That's the one I was thinking, but it didn't. For some reason, didn't spring to my mind straight away.
Interlocutory injunction. Yeah, well, I read it this morning, but it was 8 a.m. and I'd forgotten the word.
I'm lucky. I'm glad we're not a legal podcast. I'm telling you that. Exactly. I much prefer commentating on the tennis, but we're not going to be able to do that for a while because this is dominating. And I don't know if you want to go on to what Ben Rothenberg said on his story.
Well, look, this is exactly. We had Andrea Lynn, I think, in the live chat pointing out the same thing. So sorry I didn't bring that up earlier, but we were mid-flow. It is covering the same thing that you did say, though, that the actual deadline for the exemption was the 10th.
Well, so if you click on this thread, we can actually see that it's all visible.
This one?
Show this thread.
I'm not good on this Twitter sphere. You know what I'm like.
Okay, and then you can scroll down. So we can go through all of this. So keep going down. And there's a whole thread on this thing. So if you keep going.
Okay.
This is him where he was obviously...
Yes, that was it.
Postage stamp.
He was the one who posted that as well.
Yeah, he posted it. It is like, I don't think he's that stupid somehow. Do you know what I mean?
It seems...
Novak Djokovic is a smart man. There's a lot of things I don't agree with him, but he's an extremely smart person. I don't think he's going to be stupid enough to go for an exemption, considering he's got positive things. So the spotlight's always going to be on him. Once he's got that exemption, everyone's going to be talking about how did he get an exemption, blah-de-blah-de-blah. So it was always going to come out, I feel, eventually. The exemption was based on the fact that he got a positive COVID test. And then people are going to start putting the things, the puzzle together, thinking, oh, so when did he have this positive COVID test? So it was always going to sort of come back to this, regardless of whether he got let in or not, I feel. Everyone was going to want to know whether or not he would never have told anyone. It just would have been hushed away. Maybe that was a possibility. But I still think it's a bit naive and stupid to be posting after you've then got a positive COVID test, which makes me think maybe he didn't know and it was the 48 hours.
Who did know then? Because somebody knew that he was positive for... Was it they just said, oh, do you mind just taking this test? And then he just walked off and then they just held it and just kept it secret from him for the next...
No, but it takes a while for the results to come back, doesn't it?
Well, I guess you're right, yeah. So if it was like a real good official test that he's been taking, yes, he's probably going to have to wait for some time. But would you not wait for the result before going somewhere? I don't know.
Exactly. It's irresponsible as well because he must have, I think he had some inclination that he probably was positive, still went out. Not a good look. Let's keep moving down because it's not the bit we want to focus on. So as you can see here, a positive test on December 16th would have come too late for the Tennis Australia exemption process deadline as described to players. According to Tennis Australia documents, the deadline for applying for an exemption had been nearly a week earlier, no later than the 10th of December. And you can see that highlighted at the bottom there in black. However, why was it still given? It's like Tennis Australia were doing whatever they can, trying to jump through any kind of loophole possible to ensure Djokovic got there.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he got there, they slammed the door shut anyway and made a mockery of him.
The plot thickens, I think, is all we can say.
The plot does thicken. Listen, this court case is going to be fascinating, to say the least, because I've got to the point now where I'm not sure what's going on. And I'm sure a lot of people listening aren't sure exactly what's going on. But something I can read, which has been very good at covering everything so far with this whole saga, is The Age. I don't know if you know much about The Age, but they're pretty good. And you have a lot of sort of respected journalists in Australia posting here. And I'm just going to read this out. So in a federal circuit court document released on Saturday evening, which was morning for us, the Serbian tennis star's lawyers claimed he received the correspondence from the Department of Home Affairs on January the 1st. The letter stated Djokovic's Australia travel declaration had been assessed, and his responses indicated that he met the requirements for quarantine-free arrival into Australia where permitted by the jurisdiction of arrival, of his arrival. I think they missed off his, which would mean if they're able to provide that,
it's interesting, isn't it? I mean,
it just doesn't all add up. It doesn't add up. If he's got this, I think he's going to win the case. I really do.
But then there's people
listen, the more I read and the more I hear from people, I can't understand how he's going to lose this case. Let us know in the live chat. What does people think in the live chat? Do they think he's going to be deported? Do they think he's going to be that long word, what Vance said? Is he going to just be completely... Is it going to just be case solved, done, apologies, we've made a big mess up, they're going to get sued for loads of money and Djokovic is going to play? What's going to happen? I'm really interested. We will run a poll as well. After this podcast, we'll run a poll on the community to see what you guys think. I just wanted to get a general consensus now. We've got Liam saying he will play.
Well, there's part of me that...
we've got Jack saying he will get in. Patrick, he has no case. I don't know. It's interesting to see. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays and he wins his case.
That's what I was thinking. Between these two things, though, we're dealing with... I know there's been all this talk of federal government, and we've been talking like they're sort of like overstepping, like or saying like stamping their authority over, wasn't it, the state who are being governed, and the state gave their exemption, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's okay with us." But then wasn't it the federal government that said, "Hang on, we have the last government. We have the last say."
They had the final say, which is fair enough, and that's different. It's a complete different entity, and whatever they say is ultimately final. But and it seems like they've just pulled the axe down and said no.
I think that's what we're going to have. This is what this court case is going to be about. It's going to be about, and unfortunately, even though we've got this horrible scenario where Djokovic tested positive and then went and saw people on the next 2 days after he had tested positive, that doesn't play a part in this court case. That is completely irrelevant.
I don't think it will either. All it has done is just not good optics for Djokovic.
No, it's just not bad character.
People are talking about him and thinking that's not very good. Like, I'm always going to remember he did that if that is the case. But the thing is, he can get away with it because he can cover up saying I didn't get my result 48 hours. I still think it's irresponsible of him going out regardless. I just want to give a shout out to Victor here for the super chat.
Victor.
Appreciate that, mate. And we've got Jamie as well. Thanks for the super chat saying I think Djokovic will play, but when he gets on court, couldn't it be chaos? On court invasion? Could he be his safety in danger? Yeah, listen, if he is to play, it will be, I don't know. I don't think it'll be something we've never seen. He's not someone who gets great receptions anyway in Australia. He doesn't get good reception in a lot of courts around the world. Right now, if he is to play, there's going to be a lot of angry Australians who, I don't know, I don't think they're going to take nicely to it at all.
I don't think they are either, but that's what
I think. It could sort of boil onto the court. I don't know.
That's what I think the federal government are trying to avoid. I think that's what the Scott Morrison, isn't it? Who's the one in charge? He's the one who's calling the shots, really. I think he's going to be going for Djokovic being deported. That's obviously his aim by the looks of it. And Djokovic, he has sort of the chips in his favor with all of this evidence from what we've seen of the evidence. But it's up to the government in Australia can still try and slam the door shut in his face. If they try their best, they might still be able to do it. And that's the thing that we're going to see in this court case. It's going to be strict government rules trying to crack down on him not coming in. Djokovic trying to prove he was told he can come in. And they're going to be it's going to be very interesting to see the arguments that are put forward for each side.
I'm going to tell you a bit of Djokovic's argument because we've had a bit of an insight from the department here saying, so in his interview with the department, Djokovic claimed, "You, the department, led me to believe on the same information I am giving you now, that I was authorized to enter Australia quarantine-free." He will also argue the decision goes against the most recent advice from expert group ATAGI and failed to consider extenuating circumstances beyond Mr. Djokovic's control. Djokovic claims ATAGI's exemption guidance clearly identifies a COVID-19 infection as a valid exemption to postpone vaccination for 6 months.
Yeah.
He's got some good grounds here. This is all stuff which he has.
Did you see on the website?
I feel like there's something which is happening which we're not told yet.
Did you see? I'm sorry. Did you see?
Let me just finish this quickly. Sorry, before you say that. I think the state, of Australia have something up their sleeve. They're not telling anyone, and they're not letting anyone know about, and they're saving it for the case, and they're going to use it as their sort of trump card, and it's going to just basically allow them to maybe get because based off what I'm seeing right now, I think Djokovic is going to win the case. I think he's going to play the Australian Open. I feel like they've got something up their sleeve to stop that.
But
they're not stupid, are they?
But this is where, like Vance was saying, and from this Australian lawyer, their target, Djokovic's lawyers in this, is to just allow him to be able to play while the case continues. It's not like there's. So that he's followed all of the rules so that they can allow him in for now, and then we'll sort the rest out. Like, it's a very, very, there's a lot of grey area, but lawyers are very, very clever in how they work cases. And I wouldn't be surprised if that type of thing did happen here, that this case sort of not gets brushed aside, but it's not going to be the thing that people are thinking about come the French Open and that type of thing. It's going to be sort of in the background if it's still going on then, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I was going to say there was a thing on the website, wasn't it? I think it was either Vance or Gene popped it in the Discord, and it was giving that exact thing that is still on their website, saying that if you can get into Australia based upon exemption if you have had COVID within the last 6 months. So it's on their
okay,
travel.
What about this thing though? I don't understand this whole Tennis Australia term of 10th of December, but I guess it doesn't mean anything because they authorised it anyway.
Is this like transfer deadline day when they put the facts in after?
No, but why is this here? Does anyone know why it says the 10th of December here? But yet Craig Tiley then said, "Oh, sod it, you're allowed in anyway. Don't worry, we're going to give you the exemption."
Did what he wants, by the sounds of it.
Doesn't add up to me. Let's move down because I think there might be more on this thread.
I'll keep going down. Yeah.
So this is just more poor optics. Doesn't really relate to the case, but it's still. If he did know he was positive, this is extremely selfish from him, and I have no time. I don't think even the most sincere Djokovic fans can defend him. If he generally was positive at the time and he's continuing as normal, it's a bit of a no regard for other people. Not a good look at all.
Yeah, you'd really hope not, because it just doesn't paint a very pretty picture. I mean, see how many children and stuff that he was having photos. It's just the Adria Tour all over again. That's all it reminded me of. Remember, there was hundreds there, wasn't there? And we're going down the same road again, unfortunately, and it's just the same man, the same figurehead at the middle of the picture. Sadly, continue going down. This one's Rothenberg just saying.
That's just more of the same, what we just spoke about.
Should we move to another tweet? This was the one. That's the one Djokovic actually posted himself. So that's posting it yourself, and there's no masks or anything still in any of the pictures. So I don't know. There's still is that disregard for it? It seems like there's, but then isn't there like a lower? I think there is a lower vaccination rate in these nations anyway. Like, this is what John was saying on the previous one. I think in UK and most of Europe's about 70% or 75%, and in Serbia and other countries it's much lower. Like it's like 50% or something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe less. I don't know the facts. Don't hold me to actual statistics, please. Oh, what's that noise, man?
It's the fire alarm. Apologies.
Yeah, do you want to mute it? That's very noisy. Yeah, cheers for that. Anyway, I'll go on.
It's all gone now anyway.
Sorts out the fire.
It's not actually me. It's just his block. It happens every now and then.
Okay. I was going to say, it's not like someone burning something in the kitchen.
It's all good. I'm still all right. But Patrick here saying the government did send 2 letters telling Tennis Australia that a positive COVID test is not enough to get in. That counters everything you have said from the lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that is a point as well.
But the reason that I still think Djokovic is in the clear is because he was still given the go-ahead and he was still given an exemption to come over here.
But
I think that's going to be enough.
But is it enough? Because
that's not his fault then, is it?
They're trying to separate.
Then the blame will be on Tennis Australia. But then maybe...
But they're trying to separate and they're trying to say that isn't... We didn't say that. Like they're trying to say, like that Greg Hunt letter, he's distanced himself from that. He's like, no, I have my stance. Whatever they said, that wasn't our opinion on the matter. I told you our opinion on the matter, and they're going to probably try and push that agenda when we get to the court case that we never told Craig Tiley at any point he could come in, and that will be the agenda. And then there'll probably be another. Who's going to be taking the stand? That's what I want to know. Are we going to get to see Craig Tiley speak?
Oh, hopefully. We've got Nicola here saying he did PCR test or even blood test. That is what people are doing in Serbia, and test takes more than 24 hours to get results. That's fine. If it's 24 hours, what's he doing on the 18th then?
Yeah, but the 18th, he was still at another event.
He's still going. Do you know what I mean? He's just... You'd think he'd develop some symptoms as well, unless he was completely asymptomatic. We don't know that, of course. But he did take part in a photo shoot for L'Equipe, champion of champions, on the 18th. 2 days after his legal team said he took a PCR test that they'd then eventually come back positive. So yet again, it is leading to the fact that maybe he did know.
Do you think that when they get to a courtroom or a court hearing, this type of thing will be actually taken into consideration by a judge? Like look upon like how you see, well, how he sees if he thought Djokovic had knowledge of being testing positive and how he was acting around the days after he had contracted the virus. Because if he takes that into consideration, that's just going to help the government's case, like massively. But shall I move on to another?
Yeah, let's move on.
Anyway, this one is from Chris Goldsmith saying most people isolate when they test positive for COVID or awaiting test results. Not Novak. Masks off. Party time. Well, I don't think it was strictly party time, but it was masks off, and he was at an event, and that it can't be argued really. And he wants Australia to let him in their country with an exemption. Pretty reckless. If I was him, I would leave now. Back to Belgrade. Well. I don't know if we can really expand on that much more. That's just a big statement, to be honest. So I think we've been through that one. That's Ben Rothenberg. That one was just a link. Yeah, we can post that in the description if anyone wants to have a look at those papers.
It's 35 pages long, and that's the court papers that have now been published by the federal court on the federal court website. We're not going to go through that. It is very boring. But you can have a look at it in your own time for sure.
Yeah. This one, obviously, just the fans outside of the front of the hotel. Just have a look at that. There's no sound for that, so I have to do it a different way if you want to hear some sound. But you can see all of them. There's quite a number of them as well out there showing some support for Novak Djokovic. I wonder what he's got. Oh, there's a Greek flag in there as well. Is that Tsitsipas? I don't know. But yeah, you can see what's been going on out there.
Yeah, but I think that's interesting you pull up the Greek flag because it's not really just Serbians pulling together now. I feel like there's a lot of people. It's a political movement.
Oh, yeah.
This is not about Serbia. This is not about Novak Djokovic anymore. It has become very much about people who are vaccinated and who aren't vaccinated. It's creating a lot more division. And it does feel a little bit like they allowed this exemption. They got him all the way there. They realised the public backlash to it in Australia.
Yep.
And they thought, you know what, we can't allow him in. He's unvaccinated. I know we've said so much. We've allowed it to get this far. But no, it's not going to happen. We can use our authority here and stamp down the law and make up a few little lines here and there. Because ultimately, whatever they say goes. It's their border. They have full control of their border, who comes in, who leaves. So because of that, they've sort of used their authority and made him a bit of a political tool. And yeah, it's not. If that is the case, then it's really, really terrible and not a good look for Australia. And I think a lot of people are going to be very angry at Australia forever. And that will make me think that Djokovic won't ever go back there again if it is the case.
I think something, that really needs to be addressed in the future. When you have your rules and your rules for entering a country, how about you make them a little bit smarter, a little bit clearer, and everybody can actually follow them and stop these grey areas? I mean,
I think they were. No, listen, they were pretty clear.
If they were
pretty clear at the start. The rules was this. This is what I always knew it was. You have to be vaccinated to enter Australia. That's what we've been known for months. We knew that was the case.
Yep.
Recently, then, Tennis Australia started trying to go, oh, the thing is, we know that certain players aren't going to be able to get there just through this vaccine. Are we able to get a few exemptions through? Are we able to have, if they've done this, have they done that? And that's where all the issues started. Exemptions should be for severe cases only. They shouldn't be if you've tested positive. I know scientifically it's a very good reason, but it just creates too much. Too many issues. It's too hard to prove, and all it does is creates division and arguments. Best thing to do is keep one rule for everyone and keep it fair, so everyone knows where to play. If Djokovic really wanted to play, he would have been vaccinated. He didn't want to be vaccinated, so he couldn't go.
And that's it. Well, I saw a video earlier on, and Nigel Farage was sort of coming out in support of Novak Djokovic as well, just sort of to speak for the other side. Obviously, we know how Farage and his sort of stance on things from the UK. He said he speaks to Djokovic's family quite regularly, and he's sending his support. He's of the mind, Nigel Farage. He's definitely on his side, that's for sure. And he's saying how crazy it is that he's being locked up, and what Australia have done to their people is horrendous. He's on that sort of side of things, and he said all of this for something. I think this is. I'm paraphrasing, but all of this for something trying to get him vaccinated against a virus which you can still transfer when you are still vaccinated. So that's his.
Are you talking about Nigel?
Yeah, Nigel. That's what he's pretty much said.
Let's move on from him. I don't want to talk about him at all.
So that's what he said.
I've got a few good tweets here. This is another one in defense of Djokovic, I think.
This next one?
Because he can use this to his favor, definitely in the courtroom. The rule was clear in the start, but the border control blunder with letting the exempted players in before Novak arrived made it unclear.
Very.
So how did that happen then? Why was the Czech player let in before Novak Djokovic got there when they're under the same conditions? That can't look good for him at all.
Terrible.
How did they make that mistake? They didn't make the mistake with Djokovic, did they?
What did you do?
I'm pretty sure it's because of who it is.
He's like, just sliding in.
That's shocking. I agree. That's a really good point, Vance, actually. And that is another reason which I think Djokovic has a really strong case to put forward in court. We've got Serjan saying, I've heard his brother today in an interview, and he said that there's a possibility that even if Novak wins in court, maybe he's not going to play this year.
Wow.
Listen, I've said it as well. I've already wrote a tweet out. I don't think he's going to be back in Australia. I think he's going to be, even if he's able to win this court, win this appeal, maybe he'll play this year. It's up in the air. I don't know. I really don't. I think he's going to have a real chip on his shoulder about Australia.
Huge.
And rightfully so. Rightfully so with a lot of it. He's not helped himself along the way in some regards, that to be sure. But he's not going to forgive Australia easy. He's a man of principle, Novak Djokovic. That's why he's not taking the vaccine at the end of the day. He's always stood with what he believes in, and I have respect for him for that. He stands up for what he believes in, and he's very strong-minded, which is great. And I think he's not going to want to be back in Australia, and he won't forgive these Australians very easily.
They'll have to literally get on their knees. Yeah, get on your knees. He would say, Tylee, on your knee. Well, if Tylee's still there, he'll probably be gone.
And you got to remember, this is the 9-time champion of the Australian Open.
Yeah.
This isn't just anyone.
The king. You got the king of clay in Roland Garros. This is the king of Rod Laver Arena down under. He's King Don down there. I mean, there's no one bigger than Novak Djokovic in Australia. So to do this to him, are they making an example of him? Is it political? For me, they've messed up so badly, and they've probably done it to one of the worst people you can do it to, because there's no chance that Djokovic is just going to forgive and forget. I don't think. I think Djokovic, he's going to hold a bit of a grudge here. They're going to have to move like what do they call it? They have to move the sun and the earth to make
mountains.
him. Yeah, they're going to have to literally do something incredible to make sure that he is compensated for this. I mean, I don't know what they could do, though. That's the thing. His name is literally being dragged through the mud right now, and through sort of no fault of his own. I mean, you could say, yeah, because he didn't get vaccinated, this is his fault, but I still stand by the fact he wouldn't have travelled if they didn't say. And he's just travelled based upon being told, yeah, when you get here, you can just walk through the border control. And it'll be okay. It's like, I know this is a terrible comparison. It's like the drug mule. There you go. I'll just strap this cocaine to you. Don't worry, when you get to the other side, we've paid the border force off. They'll let you through. Guess what? When they get to the other side, boom. No, there wasn't any arrangement. It was all just a lie. And they just put you in the slammer and forget about you. But unfortunately, it's not going to be that easy with Novak Djokovic. He's got mass amounts of money, mass amounts of legal team, and he's going to be fighting this all the way to the end to try and, if not just win the case, maybe come to the Australian Open as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Let's move on to another tweet. Apologies, I was just having a little look on some of the latest, because there's always new things happening all the time. The thing what I find fascinating was the whole story about when he got there. I don't know if you've seen that. When he sort of arrived and touched down after 25 hours he was on the plane. I know we was talking. It's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, over a day. It's just
I'm glad he wasn't, what's his name? Mr. Morrison was saying he's going to be on a plane, first one back. I'm glad that's not the case, because that's pretty cruel. 25 hours then to get back on one straight away. That was never going to happen, but I think it was just a term of phrase. I just want to sort of bring up, because it was fascinating how he was kind of rushed. So you got here, Djokovic, who landed in Melbourne after a 24-hour journey from Europe, was asked if he could provide any further explanation on his circumstances, and he then requested. So he then, after being asked that, he requested to have until 8 a.m. The reason it took so long, why he was at the airport for so long, was because of him. He said, give me time. He wanted till 8 a.m. to provide it so he could talk to his advisors and figure it out, which is fair enough. He wanted some time to talk to his team, to get the picture together. He knows the repercussions. He knows how strict the Australian government are. He wanted to get all of his facts together and all the documents. The documents claim that border force officials said that's absolutely fine. They agreed. I've spoken with my supervisor and they're more than happy to allow you to have some rest, which is nice of them, which is understandable. Another conversation was then held at 6 a.m., he claims, where he was told he could rest until 8:30. And what do they say here? The documents state, he told border officials he wanted legal advice from his representatives who were currently sleeping and difficult to get hold of at this early hour. So he's asking for more time here because his team was sleeping, which you'd understand as well. However, on the severity of this, you not think that the team could just wake up, even if it's the middle of the night?
Why are they sleeping for? Like, come on.
It's quite a big thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure they get paid well enough.
It's not like me or you going over there and then just be like, excuse me. Oh, no, the offices are closed. He must have someone on standby, surely, that could just literally, at the one call where he's like, I'm paying you enough money to just answer a call at 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah. And all of this is they're forcing him to cancel his visa, which was then happened. They said the sooner they make a decision, the better, because then Djokovic's lawyers will be able to lodge the appeal once the visa was cancelled. Eventually, I'm not going to go into all of it, but the top and bottom of he told officers he wanted to wait until 8:30 as previously arranged, but claims a supervisor told him he had already said he had nothing further to add. The documents claim that Djokovic, convinced authorities were going to revoke his entry to Australia, relented, and his visa was cancelled at 7:42 a.m. So he was kind of pressured into doing this.
It sounds like it.
It wasn't nice. I can imagine being a fly on the wall at this airport would be pretty interesting viewing.
Yeah. The footage of that would probably make millions. It's literally crazy. I can't believe that somebody this high profile has been stuck in a situation like this, stuck in I've seen it in movies. I've seen it in like Banged Up Abroad. I've seen it in all these programs, and I watch these and I'm like, God, imagine being one of those people, just being taken to that room and just being interrogated and all of that stuff. It looks horrible. And then you never expect it to happen to someone like him. But here we are. And he's surely going to give us his take on what it was like eventually. And I'm sure we're going to hear it's probably going to be a horrible tale, especially the hotel stuff as well. Like, I know that's probably the next bit.
Let's talk about that then. That's a good bit to talk about. I don't know if you've got any tweets about the immigration, sort of other individuals who are going through it. I know I did send one a long time yesterday, but if you can find it, that's great.
I'll have a look.
I don't know if you're talking, but while you're doing that, I will just explain what's happened with Djokovic for people concerned about his welfare there. I want to add before I say any of this, I'm not that concerned at all, because he's a human being and there's other humans who have been in the same conditions, which aren't spoken about at all. No one cares about them. And I'm sure they're going through a lot worse. Let's put it that way, because it's done behind closed doors. No one gets to know. And I think we need to have a real big examination on the way immigrants are kept in Australia, who are being detained. Let's be honest, sort of imprisoned. Let's talk about it. You've got here, went to the Park Hotel for a little while. Novak Djokovic's location, where people continue to protest for the freedom of the dozens of refugees detained inside. It's shocking. It really is. It's bad. I'll let you read that.
It says 30 children locked inside here and tortured for 3,092 days. Immigration approved.
Yeah. Listen, I want to talk about the other people. And if anything we can get from this, let's raise the profile of that and let's do something to change it. And I'm sure Novak Djokovic, as a man, he's always been someone to help other people.
Yes.
Hopefully, having someone of such a high status going through this, he's able to sort of put eyes on this and we can make a change. But there has been a small victory. I don't know if you've noticed this for Djokovic. He's now been given gluten-free food, a laptop, a SIM card, and exercise equipment while in detention, according to Serbian Prime Minister. So, do I feel sorry for him? Not that much. Let's be honest. He had to endure not nice conditions. It's not been great, and there's a lot of things I feel like he's been really he's had to go through, which isn't fair, and I understand that. But there's people going through a lot worse. I'm sure they've not been given a laptop and gluten-free food. That's for sure.
No, I bet that he's probably in the best of the worst hotel, the best room of the worst hotel, at least. I'm just going to look back to see if there's any more about.
No.
Is that the only one?
That's fine. We can continue with the other tweets, but I thought that's quite interesting to talk about, because it's a very important issue and one I'm quite passionate about, as you can tell.
I think that he is a man.
Sorry, I've got a tweet here from Pravesh. It's quite good as well.
Go on then.
Just lost it now. There we go. Irrespective of this ordeal, the refugee detention exposure has been a positive, 100%.
I think that he is a man of,
and I think he's going to help it as well.
Causes, yeah. I think that after this, that might be the thing that he comes out with the most positive light, because I know Djokovic, he obviously has foundations, he does a lot for charity. He is a very, very gives a lot back. So this type of thing, he may, even if he doesn't want to go to Australia again himself, he might fight for some rights for some other people who he now knows have been suffering in such poor conditions, which, like you said, can only be a positive that we now, like, because did you ever hear about that before?
I didn't know about it. Literally, there was someone who's been in there for 8 years. Is that right?
I mean, it's something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I've heard about another thing. I mean, I know Australia are super strict with their immigration, and there is an island, I believe, it's just off of Australia, which is a small island, that if anybody tries to illegally get into the country, they send all of the people to that island. And it is like, and I'm being slightly dramatic, but I was watching a documentary and they said it's like a concentration camp. It's that bad, like the conditions in that place. So this is like not the first time that this type of thing has happened in Australia. And I have been aware of that one, but I didn't realize it was happening within their own actual borders as well. So not good. Very not good. Not good on them. Like, it doesn't look good on the Australian government at all. Like, human rights issues are a very, very big thing.
Yeah, Sarah there sort of weighing in, saying what's happening to the refugee detentions is horrible. This is our generation and we should all help. Small things make big changes. I feel like even us, we're not the biggest podcast in the world, but just bringing light to it and talking about it is a positive, because more people can, if we can reach a few thousand people, that is an amazing thing we can do. We're not the most educated on the issue, but we're trying our best. And listen, you can do your own research in your own time. If you can help in any way, do so. I'm definitely going to look into it myself and see what can be done, because something definitely needs to. It's not fair. We're in 2022 now, and I don't like it. Nobody should like it either.
No, they shouldn't. Right, let's move on to this next part. Obviously, we had it up on the screen a minute ago, but it's a sort of a bit of a joke, really. I don't know. This one, I'm quite shocked this is even the case. And it says, great spot from tennis axe Novak Djokovic's lawyers spelling his name wrong on the application form for his appeal.
So far we know this. They wouldn't wake up with the team. They slept through when he's being detained in Australia and being deported. The most important thing they need him for. And all of a sudden, what's wrong with them? And they can't even spell his name. What's going on?
I have no idea what's going on here. But look, if you take a look down at this document, they've underlined it.
Look at
Novak Djokovic, he is now known as, apparently. I'm hoping this isn't done on purpose to try and get some sort of, I don't know, with legal documentation.
The lawyers have been bad. You've got the sleeping thing, you've got this, and then on top of it, another one I've got. I just needed to find it. The lawyers were the people. You've got to remember. I know it's in the title. They are the ones that released the news about his December 16th positive test result.
What are they doing? They're just sabotaging.
I think that is the worst decision out of everything. Because that looks terrible for him. I'm not sure if it's going to have a big impact on the whole exemption thing, if I'm honest.
I don't think so.
If anything, it just proves the fact that he did have COVID, which means he's then eligible for the exemption, I guess. But you just don't do that, because Djokovic moved around. I wonder if he knows that. Well, of course he knows they've done it now, but I wonder if he okayed that with the lawyers, or they just did it. They released it without him actually giving the final go ahead.
I don't know.
Because he can't be pleased with all the posts he did. And the equip one he did, there was a full photo shoot. I don't know if you've seen that.
I didn't see the actual shoot. I knew.
Let me see. I'll pull it up just while you're talking.
I was going to say, like, unfortunately, you can see the names on the screen.
This was the 18th.
You can see the names on the screen as well. The law firm Hall and Wilcox Lawyers, and the email address, which is terrible that they posted that, because this poor girl. Or lady, Natalie Bannister, she's probably going to be getting some choice emails, I'm sure, now from Novak fans, or what are you doing to him? Like, you're sabotaging the guy. You're supposed to be there, the one helping him. I don't know what's happened there, but it's got something. Someone's got to answer to somebody there, and Novak's going to be fuming. Imagine if he's seeing this right now. Imagine if he sees that. Like, well, oh yeah, my lawyers, don't worry, they got it sorted. They'll get me out. Do you trust them going into court for you? I think I'll get another lawyer's firm. I think. So who are you representing here today? Oh, I'm here for no Jack Joker Nicks. Is that his name? No.
They'll probably be asleep on the desk. They won't even. Quick, Novak Djokovic's lawyers. Can you please talk?
Let me just try and ring him. Oh, his mobile phone's just going off. What's going on, mate? It's an absolute shambles.
I've just sent you the photo as well. So this is the biggest mistake the lawyers made.
All right, let me just bring
I'll
that
let
up
you pull
separately.
it up because it doesn't really get worse than this. Why would you do this when you're trying to help your man through these bad times?
God, no. This I've seen it. Oh, dear. Terrible.
It's just not good. I'll let you read it out.
Apologies. Yeah, French newspaper L'Equipe reveals that Novak Djokovic posed without a mask during the presentation of the Champion of Champions 2021 trophy on the December the 18th, 2 days after allegedly testing positive for COVID, according to his lawyers. Great. Thanks. The lawyers in there again. So just want to make sure, who told you this? It was the lawyers. It wasn't anybody.
There we go. We've got a little photo of it as well.
And here's the photo.
There he is.
There he is. Happy as Larry. There he is. Loving
Positive
life.
from COVID. Loving life. Is that a green screen or just a white background?
Just a bright white background by the looks of it. Grabbing the trophy. Big fist pump saying, I got the best lawyers in the world. That's probably what he was shouting before that was taken. Don't know what is going on, but I'm sure he is not doing that fist pump right now when he knows what the lawyers have been up to. Hopefully he's got someone different for the actual case, because I can't sit and watch a court case if there's bungling lawyers wrecking his chances of getting in there and for a fair court case.
Yeah, pretty good summary here. Pretty much a lot of things we've said. Contracting COVID-19 in the past 6 months is not among federal criteria for entering Australia. What more do you want to know? Even if Tennis Australia misled Djokovic, there's no argument for his entry. Well, he still was given the green light from the Victorian government that he's able to go. So that should be enough for him to then really think, oh, you know what, I can go. But then if he didn't, I don't know. He should have been advised better from his team the fact that that's not enough, and it's all on Tennis Australia letterhead, and it's not. But the lawyers I don't know where they've been. They're no good.
They were the ones who were advising him. That's the problem, maybe. I don't know. Like,
get rid of Craig. Get rid of Djokovic's lawyers. Djokovic, I don't know what he needs to do.
Who's giving him these lawyers? I want to know. It was Rafa and Roger. Do you have any lawyers from Australia that I could call upon? They're like, oh yeah, these are a great firm. I'll text them over.
I said this on the last one. Yeah, I think they just thought we're going to get him there. They're not going to turn him away. Craig's thinking, we'll get him there. We'll get him all the way there. We'll sneak him through the back door. They're not gonna have the bottle to
with the other one, didn't we? She got in.
She got in. The other one got in. They've seen that. They're like, all right, that's a positive. She's already playing tennis in Australia. They're not gonna. They've let her in. You think they'd make an example of someone who people aren't going to talk about? Because if she got deported, would it have been a really big story? Probably not. Because it's Djokovic, everyone's talking about. They think, oh, they'll sneak him in as well. Wasn't to be. They put the hammer down, and people can say they've used him as a sort of a political pawn in a game. Whatever way you want to dress it up, they've made an example of him, and this is the situation we find ourselves. The next big thing we can really go to is court now. I don't know what more we can say. I feel like we've gone round in about 100 circles, this podcast, because it is so confusing, and that's how we feel. This is our thoughts.
The
next thing we need to do is the case. We're going to be covering the case, aren't we, Ben?
That's exactly why I said that. The article from The Age as well, they end it quite nicely. I think it's quite a fitting end to the article. And it just says, unfortunately, he will stay at the hotel until the final decision. But we have succeeded in one thing, she said. Now, everything rests with the court. Whether he can be allowed into Australia or not, the court is reviewing the medical documents. And that is how they've left it. So I don't know what more we can say, JG. What more can we say on the matter?
No, nothing. I think we wrap it up there. Last one I wanted to bring up was Vasek Pospisil's most recent tweet. I have sent it to you.
Did you send it to me?
But he's talking about something that's very important as well. That's the silence from the ATP Tour. Not said anything. The Australian Open, not really said anything. I think we saw some quotes from Craig today, and he's feeling quite upbeat about the whole situation. I sent that to you earlier, but I'll just talk about that while you talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, Vasek's here saying the silence from the ATP Tour on the Australian Open and Novak Djokovic and other players is deafening. Obviously, he's tagging in there the players for the Players Council that he leads with Novak. He's saying, regardless of your view on the situation in Australia with Novak and the other players, notice how the ATP is silent. Not even a simple statement after 4 days. They've already shown repeatedly that they do not care about the players. And now they're also showing a complete lack of leadership when faced with real issues. And that's not the first time either, is it, JG? The Peng Shuai thing, terrible statements came out, just nothing. Just like it was like a one
if you
statement.
agree with what he's saying. I'm not completely against. I don't agree completely with what he's saying, and I'm not sure about his body how effective they're going to be either. From what I've seen, the one thing I do agree with is the fact that I think we need one uniform body in tennis and one direction everyone's pulling towards, including the women's tennis, the men's tennis, everything. It would just make things a lot more clearer, and I don't think we'd even have issues like this in 2022. Let's be honest. I don't think we've ever been as divided as we have been right now in tennis.
In the world as well. I mean, that's
in the world as well, but that's a separate thing. But talking about just the tennis, it doesn't get much more divided than right now.
No, it really doesn't. And this is just making everybody pick a side. And I'm surprised there hasn't been more people speak out. Players seem to be scared to say anything right now. And what are the repercussions going to be if they do speak out against or in favor?
Yeah, but I still think the ATP. The one thing I really agree with Vasek Pospisil here is they need to just come out and say something.
Yeah, there's nothing.
This doesn't really matter which side they take or what they think. They need to be a body which cares about their players. This is the world number one on the ATP tour, and they've not said anything about him. That's damning. That really is.
Does that mean that they don't care about Novak Djokovic?
Well, I don't think they care about anyone, to be honest, by the looks of them.
By the looks of it, if you don't care about your number one, the guy who probably is earning you the most money, let's be fair, over the past few years, the one who's been winning all of the Grand Slams, pretty much, and putting all the bums on the seats and getting you your fat checks, suddenly when he's in trouble, guess what? Nothing.
Yeah. Eerily silent. Not a good look for the ATP. Do better. Do better. 2022, and you're still not a very good body, which represent the players that well. So I can understand why there is new bodies coming about. So let's see what happens with that. I think we're going to wrap it up. We've been speaking for a long time. That's sort of our overview. Next step is going to be tomorrow night. We're going to be covering the case. Make sure to join us for that. We're going to be giving our reactions as it happens. We're going to do our best to maybe show you some of the case as well, because it is going to be streamed live. So see you guys then. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'm very, very thankful to all of the nice comments we've received these last few days. It means the world to us. We read all of them. Keep commenting, keep loving us, guys, and we're going to continue to spread the love and hopefully a little bit more positivity around tennis and bring the sport together in the times when everything is split.
That's it, mate. No better way to end it. See you in the morning for Rafael Nadal versus Maxime Cressy.
Yeah.
See you then.
See you then.